name is Chris Kuborn. You might remember me from such instructional videos as WIDS, what is it good for?
Assessment techniques for all.
Certifiable, the journey from cop to teacher.
Join me and this first graduating class of the Instructor Preparedness Academy.
This group has woven a bond that will be hard for all future IPA classes to live up to.
Let's look as these teachers explain each course in the Wisconsin Technical College system on their road to certification.
Sit back, hold on, and enjoy. This is IPA.
Ferris and I would like to talk with you about our experiences with course construction and what we learned in the Instructor Preparation Academy. Before we get started on the specific topic of course construction, let me just say I really appreciated the IPA and the support and development opportunities it gave me as a new instructor. Ferris, what did you think about IPA?
IPA serves as a platform of support for the faculty members, especially the ones that came from the industry, not accustomed to classroom environment.
Ferris, how would you define course construction?
Course construction prepares educators to employ the knowledge or performance-based instructional design process. We learn to designate performance expectations, design learning plans, develop assessment tasks, and produce syllabus.
Okay, but I'm not sure our viewers will really understand exactly what that means. Can we demonstrate?
Well, let's actually construct it and design a course right here. What do you think?
Okay. Our first step is to put this jumble of course ideas out on the course construction table. This jumble represents all the tasks, standards, core abilities, and exit learning outcomes a student would need to wrap their head around if they were trying to learn how to, for example, construct a course.
So my job as a course designer is to organize this mess of ideas and organize this jumble into competencies. So Val, what are the tasks a course designer will need to accomplish?
Tasks are ideas from the occupational analysis, DACM, and advisory committees about what a person needs to accomplish to do the job right.
So Val, what are the standards the teaching profession requires?
Standards are things like accreditation and industry certifications.
What should a teacher be able to do when they are done constructing a course?
The teacher should have a great idea about learning outcomes. I would need to be able to complete the task of collecting all these ideas, sorting through the competing ideas, evaluating and prioritizing them. And I'd be able to be competent to design a real course and have that competency.
That's right. You should be able to employ the knowledge or performance-based instructional design to building a course.
Yes, I'll need performance outcomes, learning plans, assessments, and a syllabus. The two last things, which are learning objectives and assessment. And there you have it, course construction.
Looks very good.
We organized a course, Ferris, right here.
My name is Scott Massey, and I am a welding instructor here at NWTC. While in the Wisconsin Technical College Systems class, I learned that it was not only about the program students, but we also serve local business and the community. And my first 3 years have allowed me to work on all those things. My first year, I served local business by being employed by corporate training. I spent a lot of time teaching out throughout the NWTC region in Kewaunee County, Door County, Brown, Manitowoc, and Shawano counties, at least all those counties. and I was allowed to teach all 4 processes that are taught in the program, all 4 welding processes, as well as blueprint reading skills, and I got to do some weld testing, which I'm new at, and it sure was a nice opportunity to get my feet wet in there. Not only do we serve local businesses, but we serve the community, and I've gotten a lot of opportunity to do that through service learning. I am currently working on projects for the Botanical Gardens. We are making some monuments for the Winter Light Festival, including an 8-foot diameter sunshine, a 20-foot diameter rainbow, and as well as some clouds and some lightning bolts that will be lit up this winter. While in Sturgeon Bay doing the program class, we got an opportunity to do some bike racks for the Door County Silent Sports Alliance as well as the City of Sturgeon Bay. Our class worked on that. We had a real good time. Another project that we picked up in Sturgeon Bay was making a bike sculpture. Started out with a plan like you see here. Got a little bit of metal together in the shop, started looking like this. Eventually we got that bike sculpture into a semi-finished project. And here is what it looks like now standing on the Fox River Trail. You can find this directly across the river from St. Norbert's College on the Fox River Trail right by the East De Pere boat launch in the upper Fox River. Some of the competencies that we were allowed to work on doing these projects was teamwork, of course our welding processes, metal fabrication techniques, and we had to learn how to operate the equipment in order to build these things. And my last is the program instructor. We have to serve the program as students as well. In this, I have been allowed to teach all 10 program classes, including welding classes, blueprint reading, metal fabrication, welding and cutting visual, as well as metallurgy. Whew! I'd like to thank IPA and thank Amy for giving me the tools necessary to survive these first 3 chaotic years. And thank you, Amy, for taking all those emails and asking all those questions that I asked. Thank you all for watching.
Hi, I'm Selena Becker, and this is course number 51, Technical and Adult Education in the Wisconsin Technical College System. I teach in the Medical Assistant program at the college in the Business and Administrative portion of the program. Part of my job is instructing the insurance, finance, administrative part of what medical assistants do in clinics in the area. The Wisconsin Technical College mission is to provide citizens with comprehensive and technical adult education. Through this course, I've learned that there are many integral parts of what I do in my role as an ME instructor, not only in the program but in other areas. Through this course, I learned that there's clusters and there's articulation agreements and there's contracts that we have between ourselves and high schools in the area to provide education in all different areas at all different levels. Not only do I have the opportunity to lecture and participate in labs with my students, I also have been part of corporate training, providing additional instruction to students, former students, as well as those in the workforce to keep their certification and provide additional training for them to do their jobs better. I learned about many different things. One of the things that this opened my eyes to was the different clusters that exist within the college system. Within these clusters, there's healthcare, there's the trades that are represented. Another opportunity that I was given by taking this class was to interview different people on campus. I met with Susan Mumbolo, and I was able to find out exactly what she does to get into the high schools in our area and in our region to help make those students or help prepare those students to take courses before they come to the college and then to be at an advanced standing when they come to college or take courses for credit while they are in high school. I also had the opportunity to meet with Ann Camps. She works very hard to set up articulations agreements so that when students do leave our colleges, not only do they have the degree that they've earned here, but they can go on to many four-year colleges and private universities throughout the state to continue their education to attain a bachelor's degree and go on to even further their education beyond that. When I graduated from here myself for the first time 11 years ago, those articulation agreements were very limited. So it's come a long way in the past 11 years. And now I myself have been able to transfer the credits that I've earned here to UW Stout to complete my degree. One of the great things about the Wisconsin Technical College system as well is that if you take the General Studies program, you can take that same program course at any one of the 16 colleges in the state and then transfer those credits to the college or university of your choice.
I'm Mandy Magno and I teach in the nursing program, and this will be our last year in IPA. We've been in it for 3 years. During the IPA we've had a lot of classes, and one of the classes we had was called Teaching Methods, and in this class we learned about how to teach the student in a variety of different fashions, spatial intelligences, etc. And we've learned to incorporate this in our own classrooms. For instance, in my clinical class, I like to do a clinical day all day, and then during post-conference, we do stuff from small group discussions, a little bit of lecture format, case studies, and I also invented this game that I call House, from House MD, the TV show, and it's pretty popular with the advanced clinical students. It's a rather difficult game in that they need advanced pathophysiological concepts to apply theory to practice. But what happens is the student is given a diagnosis, and they go home and they read and research all there is about that diagnosis. They come back in, every other student takes a turn guessing symptoms, and when they appropriately guess the symptoms, they then can diagnose the student and treat accordingly, and they run the student through a series of tests diagnostically, and if they diagnose and treat appropriately, then the student that has the illness can decide whether they live or die, and usually it's pretty effective and they live most of the time. But over the semesters, I've had really good feedback. People have been very positive about it, and they just really like it, and they encourage me to do it again. But I never would have thought of this class had it not been for Teaching Methods and all my fellow fantastic IPA students.
Your turn, Ann. Thank you, Mandy. I'm Ann Astriker. I teach in the paralegal department. And for me, Teaching Methods was really invaluable. I come from a law school background where the classes are pretty much lecture and intimidation and not much else. So if left to my own devices, I'm sure I would have just stood in front of the class and spewed out law to my students for 3 hours at a time, and that wouldn't really get me very far. So I really learned a lot in Teaching Methods regarding different ways to teach things so that students are exposed to a lot of different types of instruction. So while I still do a ton of lecture, because that's just necessary to get the law across, I also do a lot of case studies where the students have to figure out whether their client has a case. I do group work where they're discussing with each other different theories of law and whether the law could be made better in certain areas. And I also do one of my favorites, which is have the students teach a particular section of the class. I find that they remember that really well. They will always remember what they teach, and helping them construct the possible test questions and things like that really gets them kind of in a different frame of mind to be able to learn what they need to learn in my paralegal classes. So for me, that was probably one of the most valuable parts of our IPA experience.
This is Jonathan O'Brien, Communication Skills Instructor.
This is Ed Gott, Social Science Instructor.
And we were charged with looking at the class Educational Psychology, which we took in the spring of 2010 with Megan Pocky. In this class, we were a little bit overwhelmed by the thought of thinking alongside the likes of great thinkers of the past in the world of psychology.
Such as Freud, Jung.
Even more impressive was thinking about even greater thinkers in the past, such as
P.F. Skinner, and even more importantly, Megan Pocky.
As we went through this class, we were charged with making mind maps or other creative ways in which we could remember the content of the class. And this, for instance, is one that encapsulates all the different areas of educational psychology. If you zoom in, we looked at things like brain-based learning and cognitivism and metacognition. But really what was important was the lessons learned. In brain-based learning, the stress is always on making learning relevant to the student. And this is especially important with finding patterns, engaging the whole person, and using others to maximize learning.
So in cognitivism or metacognition, the emphasis is on seeing learning as a process, encouraging students to think about their own learning and their own learning process, so making them more self-aware and conscious of the learning process in general, and then also to anticipate and plan for difficulties and obstacles to the learning process.
And in relation to that, for instance, I've had to go back in several classes in places where I've encountered difficulties and try to develop some mnemonic techniques or patterns that I can use that I have found work much better in delivering some of the more difficult course concepts. So that's been something that's been very helpful in lesson planning. As far as classroom practice, one of the most important things also from this, and this is especially prevalent in cognitivism, is to model your own thought process verbally. So pull up maybe an assignment or something like that and just kind of hit the play button and tell students, I am going to show you what I'm thinking as I'm going through this difficult concept. And that can be very, very effective. And
scary.
Yes, and scary sometimes. But I've found that students, especially in difficult concepts like skill type concepts, like doing an analysis or translation of a text or something in that nature, it's a whole different way of thinking, and that can be very beneficial. In writing classes also, things like peer review can be very helpful especially in reference to brain-based learning and getting them to connect with one another. And then also just locating and addressing difficulties in your course content that you found have been difficult in the past. Just addressing these things ahead of time and within your classroom planning, but then in your classroom practice as well. Anything to add, Ed?
I think that was a great explanation, Jonathan. It's been a great experience, the whole IPA process. So,
yes, I agree, and this was a class that I in particular got a lot out of. And we did talk in the class about different populations of learners as well, something we didn't really mention here in the slides. That was very helpful because we have a lot of returning adults, we have the more traditional college-age students, we have students with special needs, we have a wide spectrum. So this class was very personally helpful to me.
I agree.
Hi, my name is Doug Tenant. I'm a third-year instructor in the IPA program. I chose to highlight certification number 54, Education Evaluation, as it had made the biggest impact on my success throughout the welding program. The way our program had operated in the past was all of our students received a set amount of lab assignments for each welding process, in which they were able to complete after they had witnessed the demonstrations. As they completed the assignment, they would earn a check mark in the gradebook and continue on to the next assignment. Some of the issues I began to see after going through the educational evaluation course were a lack of hard evidence of what could be improved and students not remembering the particular details during the demonstrations I performed. To prevent this, I developed a video recording system and put it into place to record live welding shots or to pre-record lab assignments demonstrations for students to review. To resolve the issue of not getting enough feedback about the student's lab assignment, I incorporated a scoring rubric out of 5 points. 1 being the lowest, working towards 5, which is flawless. Now the students understand what they need to improve and can then focus on that aspect of their assignment. In the end, the student has earned their grade and can understand why it is what it is. What I really enjoyed about the program was the cohesiveness among our group and the great aspects of the college that we were able to experience as new instructors. We were able to achieve all of our teaching certifications while studying as a group. Amy Mangan did an excellent job bringing together the group and creating detailed discussions that gave us the best learning experience. Having taken a couple of the certification classes through the NFPD when I first started at NWTC, I really began to appreciate the cohort group and the learning experience with my fellow instructors. Things began to make more sense as time progressed.
Hi, my name is Peter Melezva. and I teach the electrical power distribution program, and today I'm going to be talking to you about edge evaluation and how I use it in my program.
Trenching regulations. Trenches 4 feet or deeper must have a safe mean of egress. Examples: ladder, ramp, stairway.
In the electrical power distribution program, we also do evaluations inside. In this particular presentation that this student is giving, I am checking to make sure that he is knowledgeable of the subject that he is presenting. He is knowledgeable in the rules of the presentation that he is presenting, and that he is giving a professional presentation. We like to do these so students don't just think that this program is all about doing outside activities. This is the first outside evaluation, the group evaluation. This evaluation is a team exercise where I evaluate each individual as a team member. I will evaluate how they work together, how they discuss who's going to do what task, how they work safely, and how productive they are with their task. And then I will discuss with them after how I felt they've done and what they could improve on. This is the pole climbing individual evaluation. This evaluation is probably the most common evaluation in the electrical power distribution program. This is an individual evaluation. We test the students or evaluate the students on different techniques that can be used in this evaluation. We also like to see how the students perform in this evaluation, and we also like to see how safe the students are in this evaluation. This evaluation is probably the most critical because every employer looks at what these students can do in this particular evaluation.
Hello everybody, my name is Pigeon. Chris Coburn and I will be discussing certification course number 55 on guidance and counseling. There are many different types of students here at NWTC. Some are cooperative and do their work easily, some may not. Some may require special guidance. As a new instructor at NWTC, you will need tools to help you manage your classroom effectively. Today we're going to get started with our information processing principles. Chapter 2, reading and the question material is due. So please take a minute and pass that to the end and I'll collect that. We're going to go on then with Chapter 3, our reading on the Windows properties and the different operating systems available to you. And today we're in our Mac classroom because I want to discuss the Mac platform versus the Windows platform, which I'm sure not. No? What can I do to help you? And what's the issue here that we're having? Do you need to go take a break, walk out in the hallway? No? Okay, well let's get to work then, okay? Often you are the frontline resource to ensure student success. You can check their work in class. You can speak with them directly and about any concerns that you may have while they're in the classroom. But maybe the best thing to do would be to take the student out of the classroom to ensure their privacy. If these steps do not work, NWTC is here to help. The next step would be for you to create an online guidance referral with a counselor.
My portion of this video will talk about advising. If a student is new to NWTC, the Advising Center can help them to decide what degree area is best for them, or if they're having troubles with the degree area that they're in, maybe switching to something that might better suit them or a class that might fit them better within their degree program. Academic advisors are available for the following program areas: business and information technology, health sciences and community regional learning, public safety, trades and engineering technology. Off-campus counseling services are available in Marinette and Sturgeon Bay, as well as in the Green Bay Multicultural Center. Advisors teach students to value the learning process, to apply decision-making strategies, to put the college experiences into perspective, to set priorities and evaluate events, to develop thinking and learning skills, to make choices. There are 12 advisors available for students throughout NWTC, and there are 6 counselors that are available to help them as well.
Certification course number 55, Guidance and Counseling, can be found on the NWTC website. If you search for counseling, it will take you to the homepage of the counseling department, and there will give you information such as who should see a counselor, when to see a counselor, and more importantly, the process as an instructor. can be found on the NWTC intranet to complete the online counseling form. We've been discussing certification course number 55, Guidance and Counseling. I'm Kim Pigeon, along with Chris Coolborn. We hope you have a successful classroom experience.
Hi, I'm Jensen, and I teach ELL, and I also teach ELL welding on Sundays.
And I'm John Schaefer, I'm a welding instructor.
So, what does diversity mean to you? I know we have our students, our Hispanic welders, on Sundays, so we do see diversity, but really, what does diversity mean to you?
I always assumed diversity was race. That was it. I traveled, I was diverse, I've been all over the place. But I realize now it's much more than just race and ethnicity. It's age, different groups, different social groups within a race. East side of De Pere versus west side of De Pere. It's really a lot more broad of a spectrum than I thought it was.
My name is Leonardo Lopez, and I'm going to take the welding classes because I think it's a good opportunity for the students to have a better job and a better future for the families.
As English is my primary language, I feel comfortable here studying at WTC because I've been treated fairly, and I have problems sometimes when I'm speaking, but we have a teacher in English that helps a lot.
It's very helpful to learn English and at the same time welding.
The teachers and all the people working on the campus, they are really friendly, and I feel really comfortable working with them.
What does diversity mean to you?
Same, along those lines too. I was kind of offended that we had to take educational diversity because I teach ELL, and I thought, who can be more diverse than myself? But I also have realized that there's diversity within my ELL classes. I have a 75-year-old Japanese woman that attends my classes, so age, gender. We saw female welders, Hispanic welders in the other welding program. That's diversity. We're seeing the older adult student returning back to school. That's diversity. It's just not race, it's just not ethnicity, it's just not culture. And it exists everywhere, in my classroom, in our classroom, and all over NWTC. And I really think NWTC has done a wonderful job addressing the diversity issues. Our 2013 goals are all driven towards the diversity at the college and meeting our community's needs. And we must know something about diversity because we got the Diversity Award in May 2010 for our ELL welding program.
Okay.
Other stuff.
That's really hokey.
Okay, all right, that's good. Okay.
To speak with them privately to ensure they're not. What? Okay.
Let's see. You're gonna edit this 1,000 times.
We love IPA!
Okay.
Number one, we're number one!
Go back!
Your name fell off mine.
You scratched it off.
Tasks are things that...
Counseling. Chris Coolborn and I, Kim Pigeon, would like to thank you. Blah! We should have a total blooper of just like a donkey or something, like go up here. Oops, I mean, or not necessarily a donkey, that's a bad.
Can I get a green screen? I would love if I could be in some sort of flying apparatus.
IPA has been fantastic for my career. I have a support system that I can go to at any time with any of the 16 people that I've been in class with for the last 3 years. Had I not had these 3 years in the IPA, I don't really know where I would have pulled my resources from, where I would have learned how to use different techniques in the classroom, how to assess my students in different ways, and really how to become a better instructor as a whole. I think Amy Magno is awesome.
Wisconsin. It looks like it's... Did you do something fancy?
Yeah.
That was like the little, that's like the little thing.
Oh. We've been discussing certification course number 55, Guidance and Counseling. What else?
Wait.
I just want to thank Amy and the entire IPA staff. I think Teaching methods was the best class. It really prepared me for working in the classroom. It was by far the skills that I needed the most to get ready for classes. I like the whole certification system, but by far that was the best.
Technical College System Adult Technical, I didn't even say it right. Okay, welcome to class number 51 in the IPA. Okay.
I just like to say how I love Amy Magno.
I was an unusual IPA person, being that I had been an adjunct for 8 years and had completed 4 of the certification classes, and I was considered an other a lot, which meant that I attended, but I didn't have to do a lot of the work. I was not very happy about that, but actually in the end it was one of the best experiences that I've had at NWTC because of the relationships that we've built through the cohort as well as throughout the rest of the college. There's always something to learn, and I really appreciate the efforts of all the staff at NWTC for the IPA students.
Green Bay Multicultural Coordinator that's available for counseling for multicultural students here at the Green Bay.
Hi, Kay. See, I just put that in my boss. Good.
I wanted to thank everybody that was involved with IPA. It was a joy. I enjoyed it thoroughly. I really thought it was nice to get to know everybody from the different areas of the college, not just the people in my department, but the other instructors, everybody from the different services. It was very beneficial as me as a new instructor coming into this facility. So thank you very much.
Okay, ready? All right. I always forget the start.
You need notes? Do you need notes?
I do. Okay. We've been discussing that.
I would like to thank NWTC and Amy with IPA for giving us this wonderful experience. But I have to be honest with you, when I was hired at NWTC, I was so excited when I got the call from Kathy Gwynn. And all I heard was, you got the job, and then something about IPA, blah, 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 didn't really pay attention, thought it was a 1-week commitment. Have to be honest, I was a little bit more shocked when I found out it was a 3-year commitment. But after I got over the initial shock, I thought it was a wonderful experience. We met wonderful people in a cohort. I'm working with the welding department, and I'm working with medical assistants, and I don't think a lot of this stuff would have happened without IPA. So a great experience. I'm sad that it's over, but I think with our cohort we will stick together and be the first class of IPA 2011.
Teaching methods taught us to be very organized, and we do our taping ahead of time. We'll do it.
Oh, I'm gonna miss everybody so much. No, I don't know.